Hi guys, it's Ankita. Welcome to another video. Today I am vlogging because I am in Mendocino. If you guys don't know, I absolutely love this place and I love visiting here over the weekends. So here's another weekend in Mendocino. The weather is cloudy, it's cold, but I thought I will brave the weather and enjoy this day despite of the cold. And I also plan to talk about two books that I read. They are festive, Christmassy reads. One is a book that I read every year, and the second one is actually a book that I read for the very first time and I absolutely loved it. But I'll talk about that later when I go back to the room. As of now, I just want to take you along with me to spend this day with me. I'm not planning to do anything special, but there is like a festive lights show at a botanical garden. So I'm planning to go there in the evening. It's around 5 p.m. Because it's a garden, I want to make sure I go there before it gets dark. So I'll go there around 4, and so I'll be able to show you guys the greenery. Obviously, it's the end of the fall, so there won't be many flowers, but it's a beautiful garden, and yeah, no matter the season, gardens are always beautiful. So I'll take you there, and later on we'll see the lights in the garden. All right, so I will see you soon.
I decided to go to Laguna Point. It is a very short coastal trail. Look at the cypress trees here. They are stunning. They seem to be very old. The ocean was surprisingly calm. I am at the tidal pools, just heading over to see if I can spot any tiny creatures. Oh, look, there they are. See if you can spot them. They are moving. My guess here is that it's a sea vulture. I could be wrong. It looks like one. Harbor seals. They are on the left-hand side, on the big rock. There's also a tiny one at the bottom right. A pretty garden attached to the room that I'm staying at. I love those fern trees. Beautiful.
Change of plans, I'm not going to the botanical garden. I will be going later at 5 p.m. The reason I'm not going is because it closes at 4, and then the Festival of Lights begins at 5 p.m. So I didn't know what to do for that 1 hour. So instead of going to the garden, I'm just gonna go there to see the lights. Hopefully I get the tickets. Hopefully I get parking there, because that's the main issue. We'll see how it goes. Anyways, I'm here to talk about two books, very Christmassy, very festive books that I read earlier in December. And one of those is Christmas Carols by Charles Dickens. This is one book that I religiously read every year in December. Not only is it a literary masterpiece, but it is a perfect story to get you in the mood of Christmas or just the festive season in general. I think all of us are familiar with the story, but in case if you're not, it's about this old guy named Ebenezer Scrooge, who is a businessman, and he absolutely does not like anything about Christmas, especially when it comes to spending it on gifts or spending time with family. He just does not love anything about the holiday. Basically, he's very money minded. He's actually so money minded that there's a line in the book where Dickens says that Scrooge prefers darkness, to live in darkness, because darkness is cheap. So you can tell by that what kind of a miser Scrooge is. So on Christmas Eve, when Scrooge goes back home from work, the spirit of his former business partner, who is dead, obviously dead, visits him at night and basically warns him that three spirits will visit him that night. So the three ghosts of Christmas, past, present, and future, visit Scrooge. So the ghost of Christmas past takes Scrooge back to Scrooge's past, and the ghost basically gives him a glimpse of how his relationships suffered because of his business mentality. And Scrooge realizes that because of that, he is now all alone. And then the ghost of Christmas present takes Scrooge to a number of different places, but one of them is his clerk's house, and Scrooge gets a glimpse into his clerk's life and how his life is devoid of any material luxuries and possessions, but he still has his family, and how much he values the relationship he has with his wife and children, and how despite of being poor, he is able to embrace the spirit of Christmas. And then finally, the ghost of Christmas future gives Scrooge a glimpse into what will happen when Scrooge passes away, and basically everyone's attitude towards his death is good riddance and they are relieved. So through this journey of, visiting his past, present, and future, there's a huge transformation that takes place in Scrooge. And then on Christmas Day, he fully embraces this Christmas spirit and he goes around wishing everyone a very Merry Christmas. Yeah. And this is the story that actually made the phrase Merry Christmas popular in England and now obviously around the world. But before the story, everyone would just use the phrase Happy Christmas instead of Merry Christmas. So it's a wonderful story. Not only is the writing amazing, but the story itself is really precious. I'm aware that there are many TV adaptations or movie adaptations of this book, but the one that I would recommend is the animated version that I really liked. I am not sure if it's a Disney movie, but I'll put it here on the screen for you guys to check it out. So this is a very special book that I love reading every year. If you are someone who is not into classics and finds that Dickens' text is too dense for you to follow, I would recommend that you listen to the audiobook. And the second book that I want to talk about is Boy Called Christmas by Matt Haig. I love this author's writing. There's always so much depth in his stories, and there's always a really good message that comes through. This is again one of those really nice, comforting books to read. It's a book about Father Christmas, and it's his story. So in this one, we follow a boy named Nicholas, who is very poor and does not have many Christmas presents, but his father feels really bad and he wants to provide his son with all the comforts and Christmas presents. So he takes on a royal job for which he has to leave his son behind, and he takes on the job because obviously he was going to get paid really well for it. And so he leaves with some men for the job, and he leaves the son behind with his aunt. But Nicholas's aunt is really cruel and selfish, and so Nicholas decides to follow his father and track his father down. So begins the story of Nicholas's adventures, and he reaches Elfheim, and he sees that the elves are really not what he had heard of in the stories that his father had told him. He spends a lot of time in Elfheim, and so we find out how Nicholas becomes Father Christmas, or you might also know him as Santa Claus. It's a really good book. I listened to the audiobook, but honestly, after listening to the audiobook, I think I would have preferred to read the ebook or have a physical copy. It's really good because there are so many good quotes in this book. That's something that, I cannot highlight when I'm listening to an audiobook. So, yes, I would recommend reading an ebook. And if you are short on time, you can listen to the audiobook. It's really, really short. Yeah, so these are the two books that I would highly recommend. The first one is obvious, it's like a must read for Christmas. If you don't like reading classics, watch the movie adaptation, the animated version. It's really good.
I made it to the light show.